Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all the witnesses for being here today. It is important that the American people hear this testimony today. It's important for them to understand that the Chinese Communist Party plays a crucial role, an adversarial role, and a threat that will affect and impact every American life. This conversation is about something simple but essential: the medicines that keep our citizens healthy and the system that produces them. More than 60%, as you guys know, of American adults, nearly 90% of seniors, and nearly 25% of children fill a prescription at least one time per year. The United States has historically led the world in medical innovation, and that leadership didn't happen by accident. It grew from the people of our nation who value scientific inquiry, intellectual property, and respect the dignity of every patient who participates in research. But the global landscape, as you guys noted today, has changed quickly. China has made biotechnology and pharmaceuticals a national priority, and their goal is clear: to increase their capabilities to compete with and ultimately surpass American firms. We can see this just in recent data. Let me give you one example. In 2014, if we go back and look, China conducted about just over 1,800 clinical trials, while the United States led the world with over 7,200 clinical trials. Less than a decade later, in 2023, China had expanded to over 11,000 clinical trials, surpassing the 7,500 trials conducted in the United States. That's a telling and very significant statistic, many more. Today, for certain essential generic medicines, China is already the dominant or sometimes the sole producer of key active pharmaceutical ingredients. Mr. Chairman, this is why American leadership in new and emerging pharmaceutical technologies is critical. Innovation is America's strength. It always has been, and we must ensure that the U.S. continues to spur that for the American people. Mr. Jimenez, I want to start with you. China, under its Made in China 2025 initiative, has aggressively pursued leadership in biopharmaceutical development and manufacturing. As a result, licensing agreements for early-stage Chinese medicines have grown from below $100 million in 2020 to more than $800 million in 2024. As China continues to scale its capacity in novel drug development, many view this as a direct challenge to U.S. leadership. What specific steps should Congress take to ensure that the U.S. remains the global hub for early-stage biopharmaceutical innovation and venture investment, rather than ceding that leadership to China?
So, again, I have an audacious goal, which I think many of my colleagues will push back on, but I think we have to speed up a process that you can go from molecular discovery through approved drug while retaining the highest possible standard that the FDA has held globally. And everything I suggest is mechanisms to get there. That's going to be faster paths to first-in-human trials. Once you have human proof of concept, the finance community will rally behind and fund these things as quickly as possible. It is very easy to raise money for a company that has a drug that we feel works. Then it's going to be better systems for the FDA to move more quickly on review. That means both in terms of labor and staffing and training, but it also means in terms of technological innovation. The FDA also has probably the largest trove in history of any kind of research materials. So if a company fails and it goes under, all of that information disappears into the ether unless somebody kept it in their minds. The FDA holds that. They have the single greatest set of intellectual property with respect to life sciences medicine. And so using that and enabling that into companies, I think, is going to be hugely important.
Yeah, I think of it a lot like the course of water. If you let water go, it's going to naturally find the easiest path through to its objective. Mr. Beecraft mentioned this earlier about the blockades we put up. It just incentivizes companies to go somewhere else or to do something different. They're going to shift and take the easier path through on research and development to get to the end goal that they need to. So we need to take away those unnecessary blockades. We need to keep safety in place, no question, but we have gone way overboard in doing that. Let's talk about ethics for a second. In the U.S. clinical trials, I'm going to come to you, Mr. Cashman, on this. In the U.S., clinical trials operate under strict ethical guidelines. Patients must give informed and voluntary consent before participating in research. Their dignity and their rights are protected throughout. That commitment is foundational to how we conduct medical research. But reports indicate that the same safeguards are not always present. In fact, very few times are they present in China's clinical trial system. Mr. Cashman, given the differences in clinical trial standards and the rapid growth in pharmaceutical research activity in China, Why should these developments create greater urgency for the U.S. and our allies to strengthen pharmaceutical innovation and production at home to make sure that it's safe?
Congressman, I want to make sure I understand your question. That I'm focused on manufacturing, not clinical trials, and just really want to understand what you're asking.
Yeah, so China doesn't put near the guidelines around protecting humans through clinical trials as the United States does. So why is it important then to make sure that we are continuing to lead in that area? Because frankly, I can answer the question. It's pretty easy when you throw it up there. If we do not lead, we're going to cede this to somebody that doesn't care about the ethics of human life, doesn't value human life the way the United States does. And so that's the point I'm trying to make, and I'd love for you to make a final comment, and then I'm going to yield back to the chairman.
Let me focus on what I know best, and that's manufacturing. And I know there is a huge difference in how the FDA views domestic manufacturing facilities compared to international facilities like those in China and India. We can be inspected at any time. The FDA can show up at our doorstep any moment, and we have to receive them, and we do, and we welcome them, and we appreciate their input in our facility. We know in China that they have to give up to 12 days advance notice, which allows those companies to make corrections or hide some things they might not want the FDA to see. And that's just not a level playing field, and it's not good for the safety and security of the medications that we get from those nations.
It's a great way to end our conversation today. We're playing by two different sets of rules. We have two different standards, two different objectives. We need to support the United States and the development of pharmaceuticals here, and we need to keep China from being the dominant force. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the time.